What does a feathered serpent represent in a dream? Several people have recently posted in forums and online, in videos on YouTube, and mentioned feathered serpents in a dream. Now, what does that mean? Now, the Holy Spirit has recently taught me what this thing means. Sometimes the Holy Spirit knows what we have need of and begins to teach it to us, and we might think it's one thing, and then later the Holy Spirit expands it so that we understand something different. That was the case for me and the Holy Spirit in this understanding. It started when a few weeks ago, several weeks, maybe a few months ago, I listened to a teacher online in a radio interview talking about how people had misunderstood the meaning of the Mayan calendar when it ended in December 2012. He said people were predicting the end of the world. But really what the Mayans meant was that this marked the return of Quatzelcoatl, the feathered serpent. So I listened to the man, and out of curiosity, I did some research and reading. A short time later, I saw someone posted a dream. They had seen a feathered serpent. So I responded, wow, fascinating. In the hour before you need it, God will give you what you need. And I said, this is what it represents. And I thought, great, it's the spirit of Quatzelcoatl. And I didn't think any more on it. Sometime after that, I saw someone post it again about Quatzelcoatl. And I said, wow, this is probably some kind of a spirit coming out of South America. So I thought about it a little more. And then earlier today, I watched a video by YouTube Christian brother Mark Lang. And he shared how he had also seen through a window of his home a feathered serpent going about outside, but it was unable to enter his home. And I realized, wow, this is something not just random. This isn't a one-off kind of a symbol. The reason God was showing me before what it meant was not just in the hour before you need it thing. It was the beginning of a greater teaching. And so today I began praying, all right, Lord, I haven't heard you before that you wanted to speak to me, but now please explain to me, what does this spirit represent? And here is what the feathered serpent represents. It is a spirit that desires to gain power. And its first preference is to use violence to get that. It loves to be seen, it wants to be noticed, and almost more than power, it wants to be seen holding power. It wants to be seen striving to get power. For example, if it was going to show up to an ordinary contract negotiation, a person under this spirit might bring 2 large bodyguards with him who just stand there and glower at the opposite side of the table at the opposing negotiation team. This is the kind of a spirit that it is. It's the kind of a spirit that caused many wars in Mesoamerica, in South America, where this spirit reigned, the spirit of Quatzelcoatl, also called Kulkulkan, and several other names according to the indigenous language of the indigenous peoples in various regions of Central and South America. So now it is being seen in North America. It has been revived and it is growing. It will begin to take root in different members of the brotherhood. It will begin to take root in different people. Much less Christians, of course, but people in the world, people who are seeking power especially, will be subject to this. At one point, I thought it's a spirit of sorcery, and the Holy Spirit said, yes, but it will use sorcery to achieve its means. It is more than willing to put curses on people to harm them. It is more than willing to spill blood in order to achieve its goals. But its goal is to be seen and to be noticed. And that's why it is covered in bright feathers. That's why it stands upright in photos, because it wants to be seen and noticed as powerful. So you will see this desire rising up in the world. People wanting to be seen, people wanting to be noticed. And they will be willing to use violence and intimidation and dark techniques in order to get what they want. So the spirit of Quatzelcoatl is a demonic spirit, and it is willing to use violence and also, I don't have this fully, but somehow every time I'm praying about this and looking at it and trying to understand in the spirit, I keep coming back to the story of Lucifer's rebellion in heaven. And I think that this spirit was a noticeable, well, that would make sense, right? A noticeable component, a big player in that rebellion. It somehow was a key player. It was involved in that. Somehow it was associated, it was part of this rebellion in heaven, and maybe even, yeah, okay. So Quatzelcoatl is an evil spirit, it's a demonic spirit, and it is going to be increasing. So deliverance ministers, take note. You might see this, and so you will want to cast out and bind the spirit of Quatzelcoatl, the spirit of Kulkulkan, the spirit of self-promotion by violence. This is the man from Modesto, reminding you as always to pray. Look at this image of Quatzelcoatl. It has a headdress, it's brightly colored, and it is using violence as a political means.